You know. You all know exactly who I am. Say my name. Say my name. Heisenberg, you're goddamn right.
You know that feeling mid-session? You have to invent an NPC on the fly, and your players ask, what's their name? And you can feel your soul leaving your body.
McLovin?
You look up and the table are all staring at you, waiting for that beautiful, unique name. You quickly look down at your notes, they read, Mysterious Traveller, name pending, shit. What do I say? His name is Jeff? 2 sessions later, Jeff is now their favourite NPC. They drag him along everywhere, talk about him when he's not. And you know what, guys? I really like the name Jeff, but it wasn't what I was going for. So today, I'm going to give you 7 sneaky tricks that I have used on many occasions to save me from making some god-awful NPC names. Welcome fellow nerds and tabletop lovers. My name is Flamey. I like cold pizza, warmed ice, and pretending I know what I'm doing, especially when my players ask, what's this city called? Naming things in tabletop games has always been way harder than it should. You feel like your players want you to be Tolkien, come up with spectacular settings and names for everything that are unique and memorable, and we're just over here trying not to call our second wizard Bob too. I have found that when you play enough tabletop games and engage in world building in general, you can catch a case of name brain rot. Sometimes I'm writing up my overview of the session, getting my key NPC and locations together, and then I just end up staring at the document for a long arse time. And I'm literally either having to walk away for a bit or shake the shit out of my laptop to wake my brain up. But don't worry my little lava gremlins, Flamey has the cure. And honestly, it's a lot easier than you think, so stick around and find out. Trick 1, stop freezing and use placeholders. Sometimes you can get a location down, its vibes, its people, the interesting things happening there, but when it comes down to the name, you just hit a blank. I'm a perfectionist, and I want every name to be perfect, and I don't like moving on with my prep without a sexy tavern's name and the owner's name. So until I think of it, I substitute. If it's a fancy tavern, I will put fancy tavern name and move on for now. The main reason for doing this is that, say you're writing up a forest encounter and you can't think of a perfect name for the random forest, that's only going to be used once in this campaign. There's a good amount of time wasted where I could have been prepping for an epic fight or interaction, and by the time you're finished with that part, you know what the forest will be like, the terrain, the vibes, the inhabitants, and guess what? 90% of the time you'll have a perfect name and you can go back and type it in. As long as you write something, you can always come back later and fix it. Highlight it in your doc. Do this for every name you're stuck on, and then once you're finished, go back and see what you've come up with. Trick 2, let names tell you who they are. The idea of a good name is that you can tell something about the person before they ever speak. It can be obvious or subtle. Both work, but subtle can be better. If we think of the name Ironjaw, you immediately think this dude is rough, tough, and can take a punch in your head, and you can already picture what the character looks like before I've even described him. If we change it up and use the name Lorraine Vale, you are going to picture robes and candles, maybe a historian, maybe some glasses, dark blue attire. It's that easy, folks. And if you want to be quirky, give an NPC the name Cork the Sticky. You know this goblin is about to ruin your whole plan. Maybe Cork is a rogue. Sticky fingers, but he's round around the middle. Maybe his fingers aren't sticky. He just gets stuck in small places. The picture in your player's head doesn't have to match yours, but I will lean towards what they're thinking because I'm trying to set the scene for them. It doesn't matter what I think. Well, it does sometimes. That's why this trick is so powerful and awesome. We don't have the luxury of showing what our NPCs look like all the time. The right name can place the right image in your players' heads before you even describe them. It's such a powerful move. If you want a little trick to help with this, pay close attention to sound emotion. Hard consonants like K, T, and X can sound aggressive, and sounds like L, M, and F sound smoother, calmer, and elegant. But Flamey, what does that even mean? Well, here's a few examples for you chaps. If your blacksmith's a gruff old dwarf, you can use a name like Cord. We are using the hard consonant K because he's a grumpy old man who snaps and is sharp with people. Or if your elven historian floats when they walk, try a name like Solina. S is soft and smooth, like gliding just above the surface. And if your necromancer runs a smoothie shop, call them Blender. Okay, maybe not the last one. Trick 3, don't let everyone sound like cousins. It's shockingly easy to make your NPCs unintentionally family members. Greg, Gregor, and Grill, the guard captain, walk into a tavern. Your players are looking at each other, and then you're looking at your notes wondering how it went so wrong so fast, and the answer is surprisingly easy to avoid. The trick is, once you have a letter for a major NPC, try not to repeat the starting sound until you absolutely have to. Give every region or faction its own naming spice, so players can tell where someone's from before you even say it. Once you use this trick a few times, it will become natural for your players to pick up on regions and even point out where they think they're from. It's great. Here are some examples to tickle your pickles. Mountain dwarfs could sound chunky and solid, Brock, Tharn, or Dura. Coastal elves might have smoother tones to the names like Ellen, Surreal, and Merith. And then you've got goblins, which pretty much every name just sounds moist. Skik, droop, phlegm. The idea is to create distinctions between each region, so when you keep saying them to your players, they don't just blur together and start saying, who was that again, Brock or Bron? You meet Commander Kareth. Oh, you mean Carvin from earlier. No, that's his brother Carden. No more cousins. Trick 4. Make the world sound like it belongs together. If every culture in your world sounds like it's been named by a different GM, then it's gonna break immersion. The key is to stay consistent. Pick a few rules for how names work in each region or race, and stick to them, people. A desert kingdom might use rhythmic syllables like Teren, Majar, Kazim. Maybe your dwarves love short, punchy sounds like Druk, Boar, Grak. Or your Fae use symmetrical or repeating sounds, Alaya, Miri Miri. All you need to do, darling, is maintain consistency. You'll be surprised how much more vivid an image of the region, culture, and people your players will have. And I know it's difficult, and sometimes you want to veer off into another style depending on your mood, but trust me, it's worth it. And if you do mess one up, I'm sure your players will notice and let you know. We have all done it. You meet the ancient elven king, Chadriel. But Flamey, I'm a busy boy or girl. I don't have time to create fake linguistics. Don't worry, my busy bunny. That's what Trick 5 is for. Use generators, and yes, even AI. AI is scum. Hock tool. Yes, but in a pinch it can save your bacon. And it isn't the only option when you need help generating names. You can literally get a name generator for anything. Fantasy races, magical items, taverns, cursed ducks. You name it. And yes, they're often crap. You'll get a mix of nonsense like Sorvax the Moist or Wiggly Goose Inn. And I'm not saying you need to pick one. I'm saying use it to tickle your brain. See which one stands out to you or gives you inspiration. More often than not, when something gives my brain a little slap, I tend to come up with my own names. And whilst I don't agree with AI, if it's for your home game, then I don't see the harm in asking ChatGPT for 10 names for an ancient portal used by elves to travel to the Astral Sea. You'll probably get a load of shit, but one might pique your interest or at least nudge you in the right direction. The main reason for generators or AI tools isn't to take away part of your world building process, but to help the creative source and get the engine fired up again. We all get writer's block sometimes, you just need a little help. Trick 6. Don't fall into rookie traps. This is a big boy. It can really mess up your world's immersion if your names don't fit their own tone. So here's a list of mistakes I've made several times that you can learn from. Mistake 1. The overly exotic name. If your NPC's name looks like someone's leaned on the keyboard too many times with too many apostrophes, hyphens, or glottal stops, your players are going to give up. If 5 people pronounce it in 5 different ways, the name is fucked. You don't need 12 silent letters to sound awesome. If you have a long, crazy ass name, try and shorten it so it can be said easier. Mistake 2. Similar sounding names. This ties back to the cousin problem. Don't make Taurin or Thorin both exist unless they're part of a very confusing royal bloodline. If you're unsure, read your list out loud, and if 2 of them make you tongue-tied, change one. Mistake 3. Difficult to pronounce names. Don't forget, your players will have to say this out loud quite a bit, I'd imagine, so don't be mean. And if you hesitate before saying your own NPC's name, then don't use them.
You. Corbin?
Illuminare che t'arriva alla mina c'è e patte si bat.
Mistake 4. Annoying main character names. Some names are fine once and all, but you need to imagine hearing them 50 times in one session. If it starts to piss you off, you need to shorten it or change it up a bit. So you think Fizzlewick III of Blorpstone is funny, huh, punk? Wait until the rogue keeps repeating it every 5 minutes for 4 hours. So to fix it, you have to cut it down to Fizz, and it'll be memorable and less annoying. Easy peasy. Mistake 5. Hidden references. You might love the idea that your villain's name secretly means Shadow Turd in some long forgotten ancient language, but your players will not care. I'm sorry guys, they won't. They won't even know unless you tell them. If a meaning isn't apparent through sound or context, it doesn't exist at the table. So unless you plan to reveal it later as part of a plot or something, you might as well skip it, bro. Trick 7. Don't obsess. Good enough is good enough. I literally fall victim to this every time I prep, but even after making this video all about names, they aren't the most important part of your game. The name is the spice you sprinkle on top of the bones of your story. If the bones of your story are shit, then you're literally making spicy poo. And an old principle I stand by is 80% of results come from 20% effort. What this means is spend 20% making the name fit, and it doesn't have to be perfect, then move on to the good stuff, the actual story, the relationships, secrets and plots. And admittedly, I do come up with names much faster now using this rule. And you know who taught me that rule? Jeff did. Sneaky rascal. At the end of the day, it all comes down to who your players find important. If they want to chill with Jeff in a tavern rather than the Queen, that's fine. But it does say maybe you need to look at connections. What did Jeff bring to the party that the Queen didn't? Basically like fault finding. What went wrong so that I can prevent my NPCs from sucking in the future? You don't need any fancy tools or to be a writer to come up with good names for your games. Just some passion for storytelling and a lot of caffeine. And don't get caught up in a single name. Keep moving with your prep, and you can bet your ass that name will come to you. It's a process. But the name is only a small part of the story, and when you have all the other pieces, putting a name on top is easy peasy. So use my 7 tricks, my nerdy friends. Come up with some unique regions, use words to let your players picture the NPC you have dreamt up. Try not to make every NPC's name sound like they're related or all from another planet, and don't get caught up in the process, and always name at least one NPC Jeff. So, let me know in the comments your player's favourite NPC, or yours as a GM. What was their name? What did they do? How long were they getting dragged around for? And as always, stay spicy, adventurers.